My name's Billy Hemphill. Been attending YC for approximately about 5 years. I remember at 10 years old feeling very angry. My parents had just got divorced. I developed a very big chip on my shoulder. I remember pouring my heart and soul into sports, especially baseball. I loved the escape that it gave me from all that anger inside. Got into a lot of fights because of that chip on my shoulder. That anger kind of escalated as I got older. And then once my baseball career was over, anger and drinking and social drinking escalated from there. It ended up getting worse, and I was out of control at that point in college. I knew that somehow my behavior had to change. I always knew God existed, but never really acknowledged a relationship with Him. I just kind of approached God in crisis. You know, when something went wrong, I prayed. My mom always invited me to church, so I went a few times with her to YC, and it always seemed like Pastor Jeff was speaking directly to me in those times that I went. I remember one time specifically, my mom introduced me to Pastor Jeff, and I had a black eye from one of the recent fights I'd been in. So I began to explore with occasional prayer and occasional church attendance, and things seemed to change a little bit for the better. And then I met Michelle, my beautiful wife-to-be. God blessed me with an angel that I would find out later would stick with me through anything. When I was 25 years old, shortly after I met Michelle, we went out to celebrate my birthday. I chose to drive after having some drinks that night, which was not a wise decision. I knew right from the moment I saw the flashing lights behind me that life as I knew it was pretty much over. People wouldn't believe that night. We went to Fresno, and we went to this bar in Clovis, and I just bought a brand new Dodge truck. I wanted to go show it off. I was intoxicated enough not to drive, and I had done it a million times before. With a couple drinks, I'll drive somewhere, and nothing ever happened. And I was following somebody, and I didn't know where I was going. We were going down Shaw Avenue in Fresno, came up to Blackstone, and I saw the CHP officer sitting in the furniture store parking lot. So I didn't, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do anything stupid here. But as we turned left, the car that I was following decided to make a quick right-hand turn, and it's 3 lanes on Blackstone. So when I turned into the far left lane. Well, when I saw him turn right, I did a 3-lane sweep. Sure enough, he asked me how much I'd been drinking, and I told him, to be honest with you, I've had a few, and step out of the vehicle, blah, blah, blah. All this happened all at once. I had just met Michelle. I was a recent graduate of my master's, so I had my speech pathology license. I just started working. So I'm like, man, my life is over. I'm going to lose my license. I'm going to lose my speech license. I started pouring my heart out to these guys. I'm like, guys, I've never really been in serious trouble. I've had my little issues, but my name's not anywhere in your system. This is the first time I've been in the back of a police car. But I remember specifically the passenger turning around and looked at me and said, "Don't worry, it's going to be okay." I remember sitting in the jail cell thinking that night that something had to change. I couldn't keep doing these things. I remember specifically praying in jail that night for God to help me. Again, going to Him in crisis. Life was over. I had to go face my family. My dad wasn't happy with me. I had to go. Then I went back to work, and how you walk, or how you do something wrong and you walk around and you think everyone else knows. You just feel like, oh God, they know. Somehow they know. Somehow they know I screwed up. I hired a lawyer. We show up at my court date. My name's not on the docket. I get a phone call from him about a week and a half later, and she says, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "No, I'm at work. Do I need to sit down?" She said, "Well, you don't have a DUI." I said, "What are you talking about? I got the ticket right here." She said, "Well, it's not valid." I said, "What do you mean? Are you serious? Are you messing with me? Don't mess with me like that, And she said, "No, what happened was," she said, "the DA has no record of it. So we called the DMV. They have no record of it. We actually called the arresting officer, and he said he has no idea what we're talking about." It was as if God was telling me, "Okay, son, here's your one get out of jail free card. You better learn something from it." After that, Michelle and I decided to get married. A pastor by the name of Matt Doer would not agree to marry us until we chose a church, committed to attend that church. He explained to us the value and significance of a Christ-centered marriage. So we began to explore together, began attending YC, and began discovering what God can do in our life. God then chose to bless us with our beautiful daughter, Michaela. It was a tough labor for Michelle. Needless to say, I was going crazy during the whole process. I felt a calming presence. It was like God was telling me, it's going to be okay, son. Everything's going to be okay. I actually felt God's presence for the first time I think I can remember in my life. Right then and there, I decided that it was time for change. I had to live for this family. There's no excuses anymore. We decided to get baptized. We then dedicated Michaela to Christ. We decided to sign a partnership with YC. And it literally has been life-changing through Christ. By no means am I at the end of this journey. You can say it keeps beginning over and over. I explore a little bit, I discover a little bit, I fall down, explore some more, discover a little bit more, but it keeps changing. I'm very excited about this journey that I'm on. I'm thankful for the part that's over, and I'm anxious to continue to explore and discover and connect with Christ.